So where are you and Total Contrast from?
We're both Londoners. Robin was from more southwest London, more Tooting side, and I was always from East London, where you are. Come to meet me. I'm from like West Walthamstow, Chingford side, so East London.
And how did you meet Robin?
I met Robin in a studio in Farringdon. We were both doing a session, which happened to be a reggae session actually, for a friend of mine who I've recently hooked back up again with. They had a big song in the 70s, like late 70s, called With You Boy, Iris Cohen and Gary. And we've been hooking up and doing gigs recently. But anyway, we was doing a song for Iris. She was being produced by a group called Black Slate from back in the day. And one of the songs that I had written she wanted to do. And so I went to play bass on the track. And when I went to do that, we was hanging around in the studios. It was a guy called Mark Vasardi who's behind a lot of Lovers Rock, and a lot of the hits from that came out of London. We've done it in his studio. We were waiting for the keyboard player to arrive, and I met this guy. He was kind of really vibrant, and I sat at the piano. He was at the piano, and I had my bass, and we were just kind of jamming things, and we got all excited, and he was going to go to you. He was finishing a course of some sort, and I was working at the time. We said we were going to go get together that summer, and we got together that summer, and Total Contrast was born. And I introduced him to, at that time, there was a guy that I was playing music with called Eddie, and Eddie was an Asian guy. And how Total Contrast came about was the fact that I was a West Indian guy, he was Asian, and Robin was African. So the Total Contrast was our ethnicity, really. And we did that, but Eddie didn't make it in the end. Eddie decided it was too hard, he just didn't. When Eddie left the band, we were in the chart a year later, which was a shame. Because for me, I think Eddie was a better player than both of us, really.
You've released 2 independent singles on your own label, Total Contrast Records, with the songs Be With You Tonight in 1983 and Next Time I'll Know Better in 1984. Why didn't you keep on making songs in this label of your own?
I think the label was never made to be a label that we were going to put records out on. What happened is that the fact that we couldn't get a deal made us go, because when I started my own label at 17, so I was putting out reggae records and all kind of things before, and I said to Robin, look, if we can't get a deal, why don't we just take a chance and put our own record out? And there was he came with this newspaper cutting, I'll never forget it. He came with this newspaper cutting, and it said you could for £1,000 or something, you could have 3 days session in a studio, and you end up with 1,000 records. And we thought, all right, okay. And we were both selling insurance at the time. I got him a job at my place, and we decided, right, if I get 500 quid, he get 500 quid, we'll do this deal. And the first song we did was Be With You Tonight. And then we got it all packaged up, designed the label, did what we had to do, put it out, and then we started to get shows, and it's like, wow, this is when PAs were just coming in, and people saying, oh, you're doing a PA, it's like, what's that? And we were just going around and doing shows all over the country and getting ourselves known, not really thinking about money at that time. We just we were both, and then after a while we were both on the dole, and we decided we were going to go for it. And anyway, so that's, the label was never, it was just really, we designed the label to make people see the name of Total Contrast, and it was just to push us over. So by the time we got a deal, the label Total Contrast was no more really, but we did start another label called Criminal Records, and that label is where we signed other artists and did stuff on that.
So after that you met Steve Harvey. How was working with him?
Steve Harvey was great. I must try and get in touch with him again. He lives in America now, I believe. And he had a single called like Something Special, something like that. I think he had his own single out. And we, after putting out our own record, we got into, a guy called Erskine Thompson got in touch with us, and he said, look, I really like to manage you and so forth. And he had a connection with Steve in some sort of way, or he knew of Steve, and he was like raving about art, because we were entrepreneurs or such, and we went out and did it ourselves. He was really sort of enamored with that, and kind of said, well, look, would you want to come and do something with it? You know, I'd like to do something with you. So he then said, look, I'll put you together with Steve Harvey to do some demo. We've got to do two songs for the week. You got 5 days to write 2 songs, and then you're in the studio at the weekend. I said, okay. So on the first day, the Monday, we wrote Takes Little Time. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we kind of just did work on Takes Little Time, and then when Thursday was trying to work around an idea, then I came up with this bass line, and that became Hit and Run. And after that Hit and Run, we had our 2 songs on the Friday, and we were really happy, and we went into cold storage in Camden. I don't even know if it's still there. We went to a studio called Cold Storage, and we recorded both the tracks then. Steve was so happy about the tracks, he then leaked a tape to Pete Tong of London Records. Pete raved about the tracks and was going on about it and whatever, and then the rest was history, really.
Total Contrast formed the band tongue-in-cheek in the 90s, but why don't we see you in the colors?
Because one, okay, how tongue-in-cheek came about was when we went to write our second album. We went to America and wrote with various different people, and a lot of the time, because there was a drum machine that we were using called the 808, and this was used extensively by loose ends. And the overall sound of the demos was sounding like they were going in that direction. And Robin and I thought, you know what, if we put this album out, people are going to say, you just guys copied loose ends and the sound is the same or whatever. And we just really weren't that kind of people. So we just got 3 other people. We did all the tracks, most of the backing vocals and all that kind of, wrote the songs, and got Maureen to sing it. Maureen was the singer we got in, and Maureen sang it, and we had 2 guys, and they did raps and various different things. And we then put that stuff out. Although when it first started, we had another singer, another female singer that started with us. But her mum went crazy because she was supposed to be a Christian and she was supposed to be singing songs like that. So we lost her straight off. And she was singing on a track called Don't Stop the Love. And that did fairly well for us on the underground. And then when we did Nobody Can Love Me, we did it with Maureen, and that was on our own label, Criminal Records, and that did really well for us. And then we put out a couple other singles, and then EMI. Oh no, what happened was we did a version of Encore, and Chris Phillips was the DJ. He was on Capitol, and Pete Tong. There was a bit of a political thing going on because Pete Tong didn't want us to do anything else but Total Contrast stuff at the time, and we just felt creatively we wanted to do other things, and you know he was trying to take too much control as it was as far as things that we wanted to do outside of Total Contrast. So we continued putting out stuff, and he was getting on. So he used to have a show, a very important show on Capital Radio, which was in London, but it just so happens that he went on holiday, and Chris was sitting in for him. And I saw Chris the other day at a wedding actually, and I was reminding him of this. I must call him too. And I said to him, you know, we gave him a dub plate of it, an acetate of it, and he played it. We made a big competition around it, like who is this, if anybody could tell me who it was, and nobody could guess it. By the Monday morning we had at least 6 record companies phoning us up for it. And we eventually signed it to EMI Records. And then we got a few top 20s, I should say, with that, and that was that. Well, I'm looking to bring Tongue in Cheek back again. We've got another singer. We're just gonna do the 80s thing and go around and perform them. Got a great band, and we're gonna do that again.
Your very first album with Total Contrast is a real complete album, fantastic, and just want to know what's your favorite song in it.
My favorite song, I think my favorite song on that is Sunshine. There's something about Sunshine survived. It was one of the first songs we wrote when I met Robin in the studio, and we decided to do that summer. We wrote that song in that summer. Mm-hmm. So I think because that song survived the whole journey of the Total Contrast time and made it to the album, I think, and we produced that one ourselves. And I think, and then we had later on we had some interest, and a guy called Naji who plays soprano sax in America. He ended up playing. No, it wasn't. No, my memory's going. It wasn't that track he played on. We had somebody else playing on that track, but from America, and that did really well for us. And that song has a special place in my heart. I'm not necessarily saying it was one of the best tracks on the album, but that one stays with me because I remember when we wrote it, and it just completed the journey of making the album, which is great.